water skiing one time, and I was waiting to get up in the lake, and a snake like circled me.
Okay, and you were worried about what first?
Choking, biting, drowning,
choking,
all of it.
Choking's first.
Like
anaconda. Was this a water snake? A water mouse?
I don't label snakes. Snakes are all the same to me.
Okay.
So I said, so I went to a zoo for the first time this year, my whole life. And the glass seemed thick enough that I was safe behind the snake thing. So now my goal, to be bold and brave, is at some point in the new year, and I'm not sure I didn't say this last year, so I'm not sure, is to make physical contact with a snake.
You don't even know what a snake feels like?
No, nor do I. I mean, no. I don't want to feel snakeskin boots because I'm not sure it's totally dead. There used to be street fairs when I lived in New York City, and some jackass would always be walking around with the python. Yeah. I would just go to a different avenue.
That's smart.
Venice Beach, the Venice Boardwalk in California, somebody's always got a snake, and there's always like hot chicks with the white python.
Yeah.
I just leave. I'm not doing it. So the snake thing's been a problem for a long, long time. I'm aware of it. I need to find a way to deal with it. Yeah. Like, I'm really afraid of heights.
I am
you're
too.
You're like, you're such a pussy.
No,
yeah.
I'm afraid of heights too. I'm terrified of heights.
So they have this like virtual reality thing where you like put the helmet on and it has you walk on like a beam. Mm-hmm. I might try that.
Yeah, it's a good first step. I think this person needs to have a first step.
Well, the first step I think is making a list of the things that she said that or he said that. I don't know if it's a he or that's terrible that I assumed it's a she. That's terrible.
Why?
I don't know. It could be a dude. I'm the same as person. I'm going to make a list of the things that terrify me.
Yeah.
And then try and knock off one or two. That will trickle down to the dating thing. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of being vulnerable. I'm afraid of being hurt. Like
That's true.
I think it's a really good exercise. What are the things you're scared of? And then try and figure out how, in a safe and reasonable way, attack them.
Yeah, you got to figure out why you're afraid of it and work backwards.
Yeah, I think that's good. I'm very, very in favor of this. I'm going to do this myself. I've been afraid to fly for 15 years, and I fly like 3 times a week.
Yeah,
it's brutal, but I'm better at it. So I've learned how to deal with it. I've learned how, like, where I can sit on the plane, and I've learned things, and you learn to process it. And it's really taking ownership of the fear. Mm-hmm. It's a good thing. And as always, we're about the love, dating, relationship things here. If you're afraid of falling in love, you're afraid of getting hurt, you're afraid of being rejected, you're afraid of all of that thing, start with, basic daily life fear things. I think that's a good exercise and sort of cross one off.
You have to work backwards from all of those and figure out why, like what happened in your life that made you afraid of those things. I've had to a lot.
Yeah. Like where does it come from? It always comes from something.
Yeah. And then you process that because it's something that you just didn't process in the past.
Yeah. A lot of people are afraid of spiders. I have no fear whatsoever.
I'm terrified of I'm just grossed out by spiders. I just don't
grossed out.
I just don't want little I've woken up with one on my face, almost in my mouth. Like, oh, I can't.
Are you sleeping in the woods?
Yeah, you don't go camping?
No, God, no. I'm afraid of things.
Yes,
bears.
I always sleep in the woods.
Camping? But no.
Yeah.
I stay at a Courtyard Marriott sometimes.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Fancy.
Yeah, no. Why do I need to sleep outside? We have like walls and ceilings and things.
It's just for memories, okay?
Memories of what?
My best memory. We couldn't afford vacations growing up, so we went camping. Okay.
Okay. Spoiled Brian Howie.
Right.
All right. Good one though. I really like that one. All right. Yeah. Next one. I'm going to actually go on a date with someone I meet in real life, not online. I haven't done that in over 3 years, and I'm still single. So what does that tell you? I like that. I think that's laziness more than anything else. People want to settle in behind the computer or the app and sort of slowly wade into the water with some person.
Well, it's harder after you graduate high school than college, and you're not forced into new networks. Now we have to talk to people. I don't know. Small talk is where it always has to start, and I could just pass away instead of small talk. You need to, people need to get better at small talk.
Yeah. And we've done podcasts on that where you need to go into your dating or your first encounters, not with a script, but like a handful of go-to things that you're curious about. I'm curious about this in you, and you should be curious about this in me, and go from there and make it playful and fun. And the exercise that we had that can you grab that little pamphlet behind you? We're going to do a little exercise that we haven't done on the podcast in a while. Watch out. You got headphones on. You're going to break the headphones. All right, grab that. Here's the thing that we did that gets rid of small talk. This is not a menu, but we asked, I'm going to bring this up because I love it so much and we get good feedback. Okay. So I want you to just quickly glance at this brochure for the digital wall clock that we have on the wall here in the studio. Okay. And I want you to pick a word or a phrase on that if you had to start a band, this would be the name of your band. And we say to normally do this with a menu, and it's like, I'm going to be the spicy Brussels sprouts. Okay. So you're going to look through there on the cover, and you're going to pick a word, a phrase, a headline. Then you're like, this would be the name of my band.
The first words I saw were Loyal and Flicker.
Yeah, Loyal and Flicker. What kind of music does Loyal and Flicker play?
It's like a pop rock.
See, now that's very small talk, but it made you laugh. And it made you curious, and then you could fire that back and forth. And that's the kind of thing that you should be doing on your dates in real life. Now, it's harder to do those things when you're sort of in an online encounter. So this is good. If you went up to just a stranger and did something like that, I think they're going to like it, and I think they're going to laugh. Like I have done, those of us that are of a certain age that were very, very influenced by David Letterman back in the day. He really mastered this sort of man in the street interview thing where you would just stop people and ask them a question. And the content and the reactions that he always got were better than anything that if you had scripted it. And it's the same kind of thing in real life. If you see somebody in a bar or on the street or in the store and you want to make that connection, you have to just say, this is going to be nobody's comfort zone. We're going to dive in and see where this goes. It always is going to have a better shot of working out than slowly. So what are you do? Have you met anybody cool on this dating app yet? And icky, or how was your day? And then you have to do 8 back and forths to get to the point where you would probably do it in 2 if you were in real life.
Yeah. I think a lot of girls especially, need to be more open-minded. And if someone came up to me with a menu or this and said what you just said to me, I would be like, oh, get me the hell out of here.
Right.
Get me out of here.
Then
this
you
guy's
would
a
be
weirdo.
the wrong girl for the...
But if I would have
asked her,
but
and then you would regret it because you're going to be, because then you would go to your table, you'd sit down, and you're like, oh man, the poppers. I could have been the poppers, and then you'd been like, and then your default was no.
Yeah.
Just like that other question, the molding of the questions. Yeah. It's the same thing. Being open and playful and excited about a new encounter, which, trust me, I am king of Introvert Island. I'm not always that person, but thinking about this this way, I'm gonna try and, she said or he said, actually date someone that that you meet in real life. That takes the blinders off and has you look around at the possibilities, and that, back to what we've always said, the best dating site is Earth. So the people around you, I mean, not to age you too much, but you're old enough to remember when we did laps around the bar 50 times until we found somebody we liked.
Yeah.
That was swiping.
Yeah.
It was the same mindset.
So much better.
It was better because you had them right there. And people forget how good face-to-face encounters are or dating can be. And we've so gotten used to the other way. And as he or she said, I should have gotten the names off of these. That was a bad job by me. He or she said that they haven't done it in 3 years and they're still single. What does that tell you? That's what that tells me.
It tells me that this person picks out people but the wrong people, like tattoos, has a type, and it's not the person they should be with. They like how they look, but not how they are in real life.
Yeah,
they got to flip it around, go the other way.
Good point. But I like that one. That's a really good resolution. Approved.
Yes.
Good. The next one. Remember that Seinfeld episode? And I hate that a lot of our listeners I've never seen Seinfeld.
I thought you were going to say I hate Seinfeld.
No, a lot are like, I've never seen Friends. We have listeners of that age now.
No,
that's what there's a whole new batch of shows they've seen. They've seen every Big Bang Theory. Anyway, start again.
The worst.
The worst. Remember that Seinfeld episode where George decides to do the opposite. I am going to do the same. Just completely upfront, totally honest. This is me. Here's what's wrong with me. Deal with it. No more hiding or shame. Ballsy.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're traditionally hiding or lying about.
Yeah, there's
if you're like, listen, I killed 3 people on spring break in Cancun.
Deal with it.
Deal with it. I have these tendencies. Deal with it. But sort of putting out there, not necessarily your worst, but not always trying to put your best face on it. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good exercise. It helps you to own it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it helps you to be comfortable being forthright with, you know, not always being your publicist.
You waste less time because you show your true colors right away.
Yeah. And it also helps you recognize what your true colors are.
Yeah.
You know, there was a very short-lived dating site that I forget the name of it. It was like lead with your worst. And so people would put on their profiles like the worst things about them.
I kind of like that.
I like it too, but I don't think people put the actual worst. They put like what they thought was a palatable
Like
worst
funny
on there.
Yeah.
It's like I sometimes don't match my socks, and you know, it was like that.
Oh.
And but it was not a bad idea that people be like, I'm this, you're that. Let's deal with each other's shit right up front. You know, I don't know how honest people are going to be about that, but if you're going into dating and you know, be totally upfront. Hey, I've been married for 15 years. Yeah, you should probably throw that out there early.
That would help. That would be great.
But if you're just like, listen, here's what I need to work. There's nothing more attractive, I think, and more empowering than especially a man who owns their greatest vulnerability, their weakness. I'm this. I'm working on it. Or, I'm always late. I'm aware of it. Let's deal with this.
Oh, yeah. Girls love self-awareness.
Yeah. Girls love it. And guys are like, if she's like, listen, I'm a huge pain in the ass, or I'm crazy, or I get jealous, or I do this. I'm working on it. I just want you to know it. I think that's hugely attractive.
Yeah. Well, then you can be prepared in a situation for a response and just kind of try to.
It also can't be used as an excuse. Like, I told you I was always late. Why are you mad at me?
Deal with it. It's just,
I was honest about it. I suck, and you said you liked me anyway. I know people are the worst. People really will flip the cards to try and do it. So I think my answer to this one is it's a good resolution. I think honesty is always going to be good, but sort of figure it out. If you say, "Here's what's wrong with me," don't just say like, "Well, I told you," and that's all the end of it. Try and repair it.
Don't use it as an excuse for the rest of your life now. You're working on it.
Right. That's good. We got a few more of these, quite a few more of these, but I got to take a quick break because we got to pay the bills around here. And so we will be back right after this. And we are back for the dating resolutions. The next one here. Oh, this is a good one for you.
Okay.
I'm going to give myself a timeout on social media. Not post so much, not read so much, not react so much. It definitely couldn't hurt, and it might free up more time to actually date someone. Now, taking time off social media, that's like just taking away your oxygen. For
all right,
like
listen. No.
Is that a reasonable goal?
Yeah, I mean, depending on your job, like mine is my job, so I'm on there all the time, but there's a difference between consuming social media and creating on social media. So if I put the creating first and don't consume, then I'm way less anxious and I have a lot more time. And I don't mindlessly scroll. I think that's a great goal, to not get wrapped up in other people's lives.
Is it basically putting a time limit on? Like you had it, like you pretend you're the 5-year-old? Like if you had a 5-year-old, you'd be like, listen, you can watch 30 minutes of television, and you do the same sort of exercise for yourself?
You just delete the apps off your phone, and then you have to go on your computer to get on. It's a lot. You have to put like actual barriers between yourself and social media because it's an addiction for so many people.
Take it. Can you do dating apps on a computer? Like, can you be on Bumble on your computer or Tinder?
I don't know. I feel like those
can you
are
be on
apps.
Instagram on your computer?
You can, but it's very limited. It's
limited.
meant for mobile. Yeah.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but the old school dating apps you can do on.
I'm a Twitter nut because that's where I get a lot of my information from. It allows me to sort of curate like 200 voices of various news, politics, sports, whatever into one place, and I get it all the time. And I feel like if I go a few hours without checking it, I miss something. And if I miss something, the trickle down to